Mew overcame Leicester to appear in round 5 of the FA Cup. That was the match in which Bobby Decordova-Reid opened the scoring for Ruud van Nistelrooy's side, but Joshua Zirkzee's strike was then sent back to the starting line. In stoppage time, Harry Maguire scored a header to set the score 2-1 and send Redman to the next round. Even though Maguire had fallen into the fold, VAR had not yet been used in the FA Cup fourth round, so key players were interrupted to help the Old Trafford team progress. Mew is currently the defending FA Cup champion. They continue their journey to defend this title with a home match against Fulham in the 5th round. Comments on Mew versus Fulham lean a bit towards the home team, but Marco Silva's team is not easy to defeat even though they have to play at Old Trafford. Mew had a good momentum for the match with Fulham. It was Maguire who scored the decisive goal to help the Redman defeat Ipswich 3-2 in the most recent match in the Premier League. The victory over Ipswich stopped Mew's 3-match draw and loss streak in the Premier League, but Ruben Amorim's team is still ranked 14th on the rankings. The gap with the leading group is still too far, so defending the FA Cup title is definitely the most realistic way for them to continue competing in the European Cup next season. Of course, the home team can win the Europa League to participate in the Champions League next season, but the journey to winning the European Cup Winners' Cup is much more difficult than defending the FA Cup Championship. History of supporting Mew before the match with Fulham. The Red Devils have advanced to the 5th round of the FA Cup in the last 14 times they have reached this round. The last time they were eliminated in the 5th round was against Liverpool in the 2005-06 season. The Merseyside Giants lifted the trophy that year, a good omen for Fulham if they can overcome Mew to qualify for the quarter-finals. If Mew is one of the most successful teams in the FA Cup, Fulham has never won this tournament. Their best achievement is only reaching the final in 1975. However, Marco Silva's army is also highly appreciated in this season's FA Cup. To be in the 5th round, the London team surpassed Watford and the 2012-13 FA Cup champion Wigan. Fulham also had a victory before the trip to Old Trafford. They excellently defeated Wolves away from home with a score of 2-1 in the English Premier League. Munich's decisive goal helped the away team get their 4th victory in the last 5 matches in all competitions. Fulham is still in the race to win tickets to the European Cup next season. They are currently ranked 9th but only 4 points less than Chelsea's 5th place. Marco Silva's team arrived at the Theatre of Dreams with extremely good away form. They have won all 4 recent matches away from home and scored 2 goals in the last 7 matches. In fact, the last team to prevent Fulham from scoring was Mew, a match in which the London team lost 0-1 at home. In the most recent match at Old Trafford, Mew also won 1-0 against Fulham in the opening round of the Premier League this season. In the quarter-finals of the FA Cup 2022-23 season, the Red Half of Manchester also defeated Fulham 3-1 at Old Trafford. Fulham has lost 5 of the last 6 matches to Mew in all competitions. However, with their current very high form, they are determined to turn the situation around. In terms of force, Patrick Dorgus' red card against Ipswich will cause him to be suspended for 3 matches in the domestic tournament. The first match of the suspension is the match against Fulham. Dorgus' absence seriously affects Mew as they also lack Lisandro Martinez, ACL, Amad Diallo, ankle, Luke Shaw, calf, Johnny Evans, back, and Mason Mount, thigh. While Kobbie Mainoo, Toby Collier, Tom Heaton and Altay Bayindir also cannot return. Alejandro Garnacho was withdrawn against Ipswich due to tactical factors. He was capable of starting against Fulham. On the other side of the front line, Emile Smith-Rowe is still uncertain to play because of an ankle injury suffered in the match against Crystal Palace last weekend, while Reece Nelson, thigh, Harry Wilson, foot, and Kenny Tett, knee, are still absent. Nunez scored against Wigan in the FA Cup and in the most recent match against Wolves in the Premier League. This player will likely be chosen ahead of Raúl Jiménez in the highest position in attack. Andreas Pereira will be the one to lead the away team's play if Smith-Rowe is absent.